Welcome, everyone, to Chicagoland Speedway. The suburb of Joliet brings everyone together here for the start of the championship rounds, the championship 8 for the HTL Cup Series here on ABM. 3 races remain to crown a champion here in Season 7. We're excited to see what everything brings here in Illinois. 3 races to go, all 3 of them different demands. Chicagoland tonight. In 2 weeks' time, it'll be in Homestead Miami Speedway, and then the season finale over in Fontana, California, in the shadows of Los Angeles. We're glad you're with us here. Championship 8, really important designation going into this. Josh Susie, Tucker Sawyer, Josh Arnold, Pacey Wygant, Brendan Roberts, Chad Swatsworth, Blake Henderson, and Hunter Peach will enter on level footing here in Chicagoland. Mark Kissenweather losing out on tiebreaker to Chad Swatsworth, who had the better results in the round of 16 leading up to this. Zach Meredith missing out by a single point following a bad race last week in Kansas. Eli Sasek, Zach Apperson also missing out on making the championship 8. Bailey Thompson, Patrick Oberstadt, Elias Flores, and Cody Pennell also missing out on advancing into the championship 8, the battle for that title. Best of the rest, the title, that little conversation, 17th on down, getting interesting. Davis Mills Jr., Caitlin Height, 2 drivers that have not raced full-time this year, lead the board. Davis Mills Jr. has a pretty good vice grip, but Caitlin Height's results as of late have put her in the conversation for that best of the rest conversation over Lily Sharp. Stephen Oberstadt in 20th place, Byron Jones in 21st, Bobby Blowers, Brady Smith, and Dale Markowski round out your top 24 in points in total. It is all about your Championship 8, which is on your screen right now. Qualifying is in the books. Some warm-up going on right now in the background. You can see all of the cars getting out on the racetrack. Open setup. You get a tinker on these cars throughout. This is the last chance to make any widespread changes to those cars that you feel you may need to do. A lot of teams have wisened up to the idea of having a qualifying and a race set. So this is your chance to get everything changed over from qualifying to the race and get yourself dialed in. Chicagoland Speedway, not like Kansas. It is an intermediate mile-and-a-half oval. That is true, but that's sort of where the similarities stop. You're constantly turning here at Chicagoland. More than anywhere else, the back straightaway isn't straight. It is a curve. It is a constant radius of some degree around Chicagoland Speedway. That is one of the characteristics behind this. That being said, makes turn 2 a little bit easier, especially if you have a title race car, knowing that the ball's going to constantly be moving away from you on the exit of turn 2. You'll see drivers be a little bit more greedy as a result there on the exit of turn 2 at a track with progressive banking. Every lane is viable, from the white line at the bottom of the racetrack all the way up near the wall. We've already seen in practice a lot of drivers getting familiar with the different lanes. You'll be able to see drivers pick and choose. The drivers that can manipulate those lanes and change lanes mid-corner effectively will likely be the strongest cars in this field tonight. This is also an older surface than what we saw at Kansas a week ago. Despite the fact that the tracks are the same age, Chicagoland's just aged a little bit rougher than Kansas has. Part of the Great Lakes winters up here in the Chicago area along the Great Lakes. That has an effect. That being said, rougher track means more tire wear. Something that we did not see a lot of in Kansas 7 days ago, we will see in spades here in Joliet. 18 degrees of banking, though, in general in the corners. This is the 5th time HTL's been here. 4 of those 5 times it's been in the playoffs. This is the first time it's been in the Championship 8. Jair Rodriguez has the HTL lap record, 30.384, back in 2024, almost 2 years ago. It has withstood the test of time here. No stage breaks. Stages are awarding points as normal. Lap 40, lap 85 are the 2 laps to keep in mind there. Top 10 in those stages get stage points, 10-1 for the top 10 on that scale. As with Kansas a week ago, pit speed is 45 miles an hour. A little bit longer fuel mileage window here at Chicagoland because of the increased off-throttle time that's expected due to the tire wear here in Illinois. Fuel mileage goes up to about 47. If you're trying to save, you can maybe go 48, 49 laps in a fuel stint, safely able to get through stage 1 and stage 2 or stage 1 or stage 2 without needing a pit stop. You will pit during stage 2 if it goes green, as it did at Kansas a week ago. We didn't have a caution until around lap 50, and pit stops had already taken place there at Kansas at that point. Expecting more of the same here in Chicagoland tonight. And obviously, upcoming races off next week. That is Daytona 500 weekends. We have nothing going on. No Arcs High Octane, no Winslow Cup Series, no HTL action going on that weekend. It'll all be in full bloom the weekend afterwards. We have Arcs High Octane at Daytona. We have the start of the Winslow Cup season at Daytona as well, and we stay in Florida on February 23rd, just moving up or down the coast to Homestead Miami Speedway there at Homestead, Florida, for the second round of the Championship 8. And obviously, the HTL Cup Series season comes to a close the beginning of March 2nd, over in California on the California Speedway, listed as Autoclave Speedway because that was what it was when it was in use. But Fontana, California, going to be a fun place to have this season come to a close after 23 races. That being said, it is time for us to get ready to go through the starting grid here in Chicagoland. We are excited to see it all kick off here. See the cars getting ready to grid up here on the front straightaway. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the starting grid here tonight. Maybe, if it wants to work. There we go. Josh Arnold and Chad Slotsworth, teammates there from Militia Racing Club, squeaking in by the skin of the teeth. Josh Arnold winning in Kansas a week ago, doing the impossible. We'll try to do so again here tonight. Chad Slotsworth getting into the Championship 8 on tiebreaker, your Daytona 500 winner from earlier this season. Keeps his championship hopes alive and starts in a good place to do so in that second spot. Bryn Roberts, 3 for 3 on the playoff drivers at the front of the field before you get to realize Sass. Bryn Roberts, very quiet but very efficient in the round of 16, comfortably in without needing to worry about wins or anything. That point rack up, that points accumulation will be a strong for the 83 car. But I am into, especially during the stages here tonight. Byron Jones, Patrick Oberstadt in row number 3. That's 5th and 6th on the grid. Hunter Peach and Bailey Thompson make up row number 4. Hunter Peach did a great job battling with Blake Henderson, both of them making it into the round of 8, this Championship 8. We're going to see both of them here. Here's Henderson in 9th, to be precise. Mark Kissenweather falling out due to tiebreaker. His 2 of his teammates on the front row. He's also top 10. He is in 10th. Casey Wygen, very quiet, very effective, was locked in going into Kansas last week. Now it's go time. You need to put those technical issues in the rearview mirror. We're going to do so from row 6 alongside Stephen Overstep. Zach Meredith and Richard Odie in row 7. Zach Meredith's championship campaign, his own undoing in Kansas, falling out of the top 8 at the very end. Caitlin Height, we talked about her being sort of in that conversation, the best of the rest in 18th spot in points. Another good qualifying effort, 15th alongside Tucker Sawyer here at Kansas. Zach Apperson, Elias Flores in row number 9. Christina Ryan filling in for Dustin Hall in the number 1 car. She starts to the inside of Angel Santiago, who starts in 20th here in Chicago. Julie Frazier back in the 71 car, starts alongside Bobby Flowers in the 91 for Go Racing. Josh Susie, not where he wants to be in qualifying, did not go well. He starts 23rd alongside Lily Sharp. Brady Smith, Davis Mood Jr. in row 13. Row 14, Gary Donaldson and Alfred Denny, teammates there in that 14th row, 27th or 28th on the grid. 29th on his lonesome once again at the back of the field, John Matthews in that 3 doors down at number 81, the lead singer of that band, passing away from cancer just a couple days ago. A little tribute card to him, not too far removed from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. 3 doors down machine, ran back in 2005. We've gone over all the pace notes here. No stage breaks, 2 stages, lap 40 and lap 85. 400-kilometer event coming up here. All 3 championship 8 races are 400 kilometers. Get used to that race distance because it's showtime. The green flag flies. The Chicago 400 is underway. Already trouble. That is the 12 of Arnold, spun around. And the caution out immediately in turn 1. Looks like a decent amount of damage avoided there for Josh Arnold. Inside lane stacked up there. It looked like contact might have triggered that. Would have been Bryn Roberts behind. And then Eli Sasek on the outside lane there, not really a part of the equation. We'll get a look here in just a second as to what happened to your pole sitter, who is now shuffled down to 29th and last in this field. We're going to go all the way back to the green flag itself here. Spotter cam from up above. 80 and quarter speed. You see the pace car taking that sharp left. We'll go ahead and play real time for a second so we can get up to speed here. Three wide already. Sasek goes up top to the very far outside lane. He's going to be using that a lot. This will give us a good look. It looks like Arnold may have just broken loose on his own. Yeah, he 100% he does. Just 1% breaks loose on his own. He gets help there from Bryn Roberts, but he had already broken loose into a half spin by the time that occurs. Byron Jones goes into a little bit of a half spin, saves it to try to avoid the 12. A little bit of contact there between the two championship drivers there. That is Peach and Arnold together. But overall, most of the field avoids making contact with the pole sitter and lives to fight another day. I'll play this in real time, and I would like to get an up from up above view. This might be the one we're looking for here. Even better look. We talked about this at Kansas, those rubber seams that separate the different lines here at Chicagoland. You don't want to run on those, but you can see right there, Arnold never touched those rubber seams in the corner. He just broke loose pretty quickly. And thankfully, the field was still getting up to speed. Had plenty of time to react to avoid making that situation way worse. So Josh Arnold around turns 3 and 4 to join the tail end of the field, getting that car checked over, making sure that car is good to go for this first restart. Arnold and Peach all came down pit lane. Peach had a little bit of damage, but it looks like they've gotten all of that fixed on the 20 car. But not a good start for a couple of the championship drivers in this field. Marked in gold. Gold, a good indicator of the championship rounds here in tow. Those in blue not battling for a championship, looking to play spoiler here across these final 3 races. Chad Swasworth, the leader right now, outside pole sitter, stays at the front of the field. He is the race leader over Eli Sasek. He chose to stay on the outside lane. Outside lane going to be a little bit more comfortable. We heard from several drivers going into this race, the outside lanes, the middle especially, going to be a place of contention. It seems to be everyone's favorite spot to sort of be in at some point. The risky drivers will be on the outside lane up near the wall, trying to keep the momentum as high as possible. We'll see who goes where when we get back up to speed. The green flag flies once again. First restart of the night. And Chad Swasworth kicks off festivities with a really good restart. Bryn Roberts goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He felt comfortable there. Eli Sasek in the middle lane was not comfy. We talked about the wall that goes away from you out of turn 2. It doesn't flatten out. saves Sasic there from tagging the wall with any significant degree. He will just lose positions, but no damage to the 9 car. And here comes Bren Roberts with a bunch of momentum, a pocket full of lightning. And right to the bumper of that 6 car. It goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Now that they're at speed and those tires are getting up to temperature, that inside lane will be a little bit less risky. But you see how many drivers pushing a little bit wider out of turn 2 with the curvature of that back straightaway. It is a pretty big ordeal. 3 cars in this breakaway. Slotsworth, Roberts, and Henderson. Henderson, one of the fastest cars in the field in Kansas a week ago. Was battling for his championship campaign. So was Hunter Peach. Henderson a little bit quicker than that 20 car last week. And once again, being a top 3 car at the moment here alongside Bren Roberts, who was quiet but effective as he needed to be in Kansas. And Chad Slotsworth, who had a terrible time going a lap down early in the breadbasket. Not having a bad time here. Trouble further back. Several cars involved. Meredith is one of them. Josh Arnold, he came to a standstill. That was Zach Apperson in the Red Bull number 4. 2 cars with a lot of damage there. Donaldson had to take to the grass. And there's a couple of cars whose days are certainly done now. Meredith had cut it close, but got away onto that first caution. Not so fortunate here at a turn 4, which it was a problem spot in Kansas, and will be a problem spot here tonight, especially in contrast to that turn 2, where you can take a lot more than you need to give. Let's take a look. Slow motion, and perfect timing here at a turn 4. Just slides. A little bit of contact from Kissenweather, who's trying to avoid him. Sends the 17 up into the outside wall. Nowhere for Apperson to go in that at all. Looks like that is Elias Flores that gets a huge chunk of it, too. It is 99 of Flores that gets a huge chunk. And, ooh, not a great place to have contact there if you are Josh Arnold. That car is damaged, I would say, in a more significant way than lap 1, turn 2 incident where he spun in front of Hunter Peach. That is more significant. And we're going to ride on board with Josh Arnold real time. You see the smoke. Yeah. Nothing positive about that one for Josh Arnold. Puts him in the hole pretty quick. The Polster are having some pretty significant problems already. Just a week removed from his 3rd HTL Cup Series victory in Kansas. And it's looking very, very likely that lightning will not strike twice for Josh Arnold here back-to-back weeks. Cars in pit lane right now, only 2 of them, Zach Meredith and Zach Apperson, but they will be in pit lane for an extended period of time if those races are not done already. 2 cautions in the first stage that ends on lap 40. Slotsworth chose the inside lane this time for this restart. Roberts to the outside lane. Nope. Roberts will have to go to the inside lane. Slotsworth decided he's going to change his mind after the 1 to go. Henderson and Patrick Oberstadt in row 2. Henderson to the inside, Patrick Oberstadt on the outside lane. And then row 3, Byron Jones to the inside, Pacey Wygant, the 00 on the outside lane to make up your top 6 for this restart. Josh Arnold down the pit lane as well. He is also going to have to try to get some of that work done. He's going to go a lap down early here as a result. Zach Meredith's day officially over. 26 cars all on lead lap, all present. Green flag flies, and away we go. Second restart of the night, and it's another good one for Swatsworth, who gets ahead and gets clear and tries to get down to the white line ahead of Bryn Roberts, who looked like he had the 6's number. Car in the fence a little bit. 2 cars in the fence. Both of them ascent cars. Wygent was the first. Well, like Flores was the second. Out of 4. Swatsworth continues to lead. He has led effectively every lap so far of this race. All 11 of them completed so far. Bryn Roberts trying to make that change as they come out of turn 2. A little bit of a wobble there for the 6, but he's got enough momentum. He will clear Roberts. Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford. Manufacturer parity, all of them in the top 3. You've got another Ford there with Byron Jones in 4th. Eli Sasek in 5th. Haley Thompson 6th. Wygent down to 7th. Patrick Oberstadt 8th. Battling for 8th with Mark Kissenweather. Stephen Oberstadt also top 10. The brothers at the tail end of the top 10 playing gatekeeper as Mark Kissenweather charges forward. Third caution of the night is out. And Christina Ryan is in the dirt. And that looks like it's day done. Lily Sharp's had issues as well. Christina Ryan's only retired once in the HTL Cup Series in her career. This could be number 2. A lot of damage on that number 1 machine. And we will take a look at what happened to the Tombstone Racing drivers. Side by side with Lily Sharp. No love lost between these two across multiple different disciplines. Not a great angle that I'm seeing here. That looks like Sharp moving up the racetrack. And that's going to greatly displease the number 1 machine. Obviously, we saw the suspension damage on the number 1 car. No brakes, no steering or anything. Just let the banking take care of the car. I do want to grab another look at that from high above, if we can, from the chopper cam. Yeah, Sharp just moves up the racetrack. Christina's already moving up the racetrack. Sharp just moves up at a way harder rate. And immediate damage, you see the floppiness of that right front. It's already disconnected completely, so no braking here. Just got to let gravity take its course, and you're going to see Christina Ryan rolling down the racetrack just a little bit. A little bit of an assist there to get the 1 car off the racetrack onto the grass. But a lot of pain early on. And that looks like it is an effective day done for the number 1 machine. Attrition kicking in early here in Chicagoland. Third caution of the night, at least from retirement from the last 2 cautions here, if not more. Official retirements that have been declared: Ryan and Meredith are out. Zach Apperson still on pit lane, has been on pit lane looking at damage repairs now over 7 minutes, closer to 8 minutes at this point. Josh Arnold on pit lane for an extended period of time, 5.5 minutes and counting for the 12. Flores getting some more work done from that contact during the second caution with Zach Meredith and Zach Apperson. And you saw the 99 beating the pace car out of pit lane to stay on the lead lap. Lily Sharp on pit lane for an extended period of time for repairs as well. Already 1 lap down, looking at multiple laps going down here. And so attrition kicking in massively. We talked about how much more physical this race is going to be. We're seeing the early signs of that. Drivers just failing to properly adjust to the differences between Kansas and here in Chicagoland. All the cars on the racetrack are on the lead lap. There is 24 of them at this point. And again, keep an eye on all the drivers marked in gold, the Championship 8 drivers. Everyone entered on level playing field across these last 3 races. A huge deficit for Josh Arnold out of the gate. And he is hoping that the chaos continues here in Joliet. Once again, it is Swansworth and Roberts at the front of the field. Green flag flies. And for the 3rd time, we're underway. Slower restart there for Bryn Roberts that time. Puts Byron Jones in the catbird seat on the outside lane. Keeping on the red number 25 machine of Blake Henderson. Trouble, car spun. Further back, David Smith Jr. And caution is out for the 4th time. And the NFG cars, 3 of them have been involved in the first 4 cautions of the night. And stage 1, as it was stage 3 in Kansas, marred by start and stop action here. Take a look here. It doesn't look like any significant damage on the 54, at least from the angles we've got so far. Could be wrong, but I'm not seeing a whole lot at the moment. Go ahead and take a look here. And we'll go ahead and grab our good old spotter cam from both the broadcast booth here. Doesn't start with David Smith Jr. He's just the one that bottles it up off the nose of Tucker Sawyer. The first car we saw begin to spin was the 88 of Patrick Oberstadt, who was on the bottom of the racetrack. Sawyer was trying to give space to the 88. Unfortunately, 3 wide is not a situation you have a lot of space to wiggle in. But you do see avoiding any contact with the wall. And a skid through the grass is the worst of Davis Meal's worries at the moment. I don't even really see any damage on that left rear quarter panel where he was tagged by Tucker Sawyer. He will come down pit lane, it looks like, anyway, just to get it checked out. But you'll see live pictures here. A few cars coming down pit lane. Matthews, Flores, Santiago, Donaldson, Smeal, all down the pit lane, along with Patrick Oberstadt. Willie Sharp is back out on the racetrack. That car is not 100%. Some of the live chat comments there. For those watching live on Twitch, we appreciate you tuning in and spending your Monday night with us. Very interesting. Stage 1 and throwing us for a loop here. Damage on the 19 still. A lot of discourse and dialogue from those watching. Not a lot of people happy with the 19 car. A change up there at the front of the field for this 4th restart. Instead of it being Bryn Roberts on the front row, it is Byron Jones on the inside lane. Chad Swansworth controlling the restart once again. Chad Swansworth, to pull up the statistics, he has led all 19 laps completed so far. It'll be 20 for 20 on this restart. inheriting the race lead from his teammate and pole sitter Josh Arnold, who has not had a fun time. Still on the pit lane, it looks like. And indeed he is. So here we go. Spotsworth, Jones, Henderson, Roberts, your top four. Fourth restart. Thompson on the radio saying she felt like she was in purgatory. She's in the top five at the moment, battling alongside Eli Sasek for that fifth spot. Driver's not happy with the start-stop nature. Understandably to see why. Spotsworth, again, not the fastest car on the racetrack at the moment in this early going. Takes him a little bit to fire up the number 6 car. And you're seeing that. He's got a barrage of cars behind him. Jones looks quick right now. Henderson looks quick. Roberts looks quick. There is a fleet of cars that look pretty good right now here in Chicagoland. Now we're getting these tires up to temperature again and getting everything up to speed. We'll see if it gets better for that 6 car, but we have spent most of the race so far watching the 6 car just be assaulted practically at the front of the field and just withstanding those attacks. Even now, he's not walking away from anybody right now. Henderson looks to the inside, no dice. Byron Jones holding on to the 2nd spot. Sasek in that top 5. He has hung on to the tail of Bren Roberts. His teammates have had various levels of misfortune early on in this race, but he has kept his nose clean so far. Billy Thompson drops down to the 7th spot behind Mark Kissenweather, who is in that throwback Toyota number 2 machine. And Thompson's actually going to kind of get swallowed up here. Here comes Pacey Wygent. Here comes Richard Odie in the top 10 as well. Odie looking for position, went 3 wide to get around both Wygent and Thompson. And Richard Odie, a one-time HTL National Series winner, here at Chicagoland, should probably add that, has shown glimpses of speed we've not seen from him in his Cup Series career so far in HTL. And he's shown them in spades, and he's showing more of that here right now. Richard Odie up to the 7th spot. Didn't qualify terribly either, the 78. He qualified 14th. He's up 7 spots already. And we've not had a lot of green flag running in stage 1. He has just picked his spots and he's made it work. And he has walked away from Wygent, Thompson, and he's going to try to stay away from the charging forward Steven Oberstedt. But remember, again, Richard Odie, his one HTL win, his one major HTL win was here in Chicagoland, the National Series, back in the Gen 6 car, almost 2 years ago. Held off what would be future HTL Cup Series champion John Hagan for that race win. He has been reeled in pretty quickly by Steven Oberstedt. That 3 car looking pretty pacey at the moment. Teammate with Bren Roberts there in the 83. The 3 car is rolling too. Wild stuff here at the moment. Battles further forward as well. Battle for the 3rd spot. The 4th spot goes Eli Sasek as Byron Jones drops down to 3rd. Henderson now in the runner-up spot in 2nd, looking for his 2nd win of the season, his 5th career win overall in the Cup Series. If he can try to make it happen. He says this is the best he has felt in several years. That win at Bristol, doing a lot of lifting, removing a weight off his shoulders. A weight that he felt was never going to be removed. Byron Jones still looking for his first podium in the Cup Series. He has had so many times he's had pace that has just not turned into results. It's just fallen apart late for him. We'll see if that's the case again tonight, but right now he is showing that 60 car has got something behind the wheel. And here comes a potential change for the race lead. Henderson sends it to the inside, slides up the racetrack in front of the 6 car, and we have a new race leader. Will it stick across start finish line? It does. Henderson, new race leader for the first time since the start. Top of the racetrack. He feels comfy up there near the wall. And he's going to be very greedy out of turn 2. Momentum speaks out pretty well. And it'll speak out louder here in turn 4 if he can stay alongside that 6 car. And he does. Swansworth leader. Henderson leads at the line. Kissenweather's top 5 as well. That number 2 car, he has made his way forward into this lead group. Longest green flag run of the night. Doesn't take much to say that at the moment, but we are rolling. And the field spreading out the different segments as Henderson leads over Jones and Swansworth. Teammates 3rd and 4th from Militia Racing Club, but it is forwards of different campaigns. Tombstone and Coast to Coast, 1st and 2nd. With Henderson and Byron Jones up in front. Toyota's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The Ascent Racing Machine of Eli Sasek rounding out your top 5 at the moment. Battles further back. Oberstadt battling heavily with Pacey Wygant while being kept at bay by Richard Odie. The 78 car running pretty well in that 7th spot. Chevrolet versus Toyota here. Team Ralph versus Ascent. In your top 10, battle for 8th. Hunter Peach in the 10th spot, trying to hold on to that over Bailey Thompson, who has recovered and stopped the bleeding a little bit. Josh Susie has made his way up to the 12th spot after qualifying this race 23rd. He is not far away from the top 10 and from very crucial stage points. As we mentioned, everyone entered on solid ground in this Championship 8 level footing going into Chicagoland. Josh Susie was the points leader through the round of 16, but has so far been left behind. He is 6th of the Championship 8 drivers at the moment, sitting in that 12th spot. Only 2 cars behind him at the moment. Tucker Sawyer 14th and Josh Arnold, who is 25 laps down, if I'm not mistaken, still on pit lane. His race effectively over here, being 25 laps down. He is now playing support role for Kissenweather and Swansworth, his teammates up in the top 5. We have several confirmed retirements. Apperson, Ryan, and Meredith are out. Julie Sharp, the damage from her contact with the number 1 has left her high and dry. She is 5 seconds apart from anybody, sitting in the 25th position. And if we get a long enough green flag run, she will go a lap down before the next round of pit stops begins at the current rate. Henderson and Jones pulling away from the Toyota's camaraderie behind. Henderson felt really comfortable. Strategy just didn't go his way, and then bad luck late, traditional Blake Henderson fashion, kept him away from a race win at Kansas. But he has unlocked 1.5 mile speed that I'm going to go ahead and argue in his career he has not really ever had. Number 2 of his wins prior to this season were Indianapolis and Talladega. 2 of the longest tracks on the calendar oval-wise. Winning at Bristol, shortest track on the calendar oval-wise. The intermediates have been a pretty gaping hole in Blake Henderson's game up to this point. He's had pace this season. Poor luck has continued to kind of shadow over him. Right now, he has found the one thing that he would consider to be about as pristine as possible, and that is clean air at the nose of the 25 car. Byron Jones running a different line. He knows the clean air is very important as well in the corners. and it's showing right now. 2 to go in the stage. No stage breaks, so there's no caution on lap 40 unless a crash occurs as we complete the final lap of stage 1. For the first time in his career, when he takes the start-finish line here, Blake Henderson will be the points leader in the HTL Cup Series. Position he's never been in his career. He is in now as the points leader. Stage 1 comes to a close. Henderson, Jones, Swatsworth, Roberts, Wygant, and Peach all score stage points. They're your top 10 as they are. Henderson scores 10 points. Frazier scores 1. Fill in the blanks in the middle. Josh Soucy, who entered as the points leader from the round of 16, goes scoreless in stage 1, finishing stage 1 in the 17th position. Had a little bit of a hiccup there, and he has actually fallen all the way back, now battling with Brady Smith and Tucker Sawyer. Both of those drivers, 2 championship drivers, the 97 and the 24, not only not in the top 10, but have gone the opposite direction from the top 10. Steven Overstead is also falling backwards. I believe Frazier in the top 10 at the moment right now. Bobby Blowers right behind in 11th place. And I saw further forward a little bit of a pass for position there. That is Hunter Peach working on Bren Roberts. And Casey Wygant in that conversation as well. Bailey Thompson, 9th place, just in the shadow of that battle in the 27 car. Has gotten around Byron Jones. Byron Jones had a little bit of a hiccup. It has given Blake Henderson a second advantage over everyone else at the moment. Swatsworth led most of the first stage uncontested. See 29 laps led, all of them early on at the start of the race. Henderson has led since. 2 lead changes, one at the start from Josh Arnold to Chad Swatsworth on lap 1. And then on lap 30 from Swatsworth to Henderson. Pit stops taking place, and it's Byron Jones that'll be the first one down pit lane. A little bit early. Remember, not everyone in this race is pit up to this point. So the window is open for those that have not yet pit. About 14 drivers not yet made a pit stop, including your entire top 5 at this point. Hunter Peach pit on lap 2 to get a damage check from that earlier incident. By Blowers came down for a top off on lap 2. So realistically, you're looking at 16 drivers that need to make pit stops here within the next 5 laps. The leaders with the most time out front will have burnt the most fuel, but will have saved the most tires. Byron Jones coming down pit lane as a tire strategy call, not a fuel mileage issue. So the 60 car worried about concerns over tire wear, deciding to go for an undercut to see what he can grab. Being in that top 5 conversation, it may work out for him here. We'll see how it pans out. The issue is that he is now a lap down. And so a caution now would pin him pretty far down the running order. He would need to rely on a free pass or a waiver round to get back on lead lap, and he would put him at the very back of the field to do so. So he's hoping to see a full green flag pit stop cycle here. Most of the rest of the field came down either on lap 14 in Caitlin Heights' case or on lap 18, with most of the field coming down during the 3rd caution of the night. Sorry, 4th caution. Lap 18 was the 4th caution. Gap is closed down from about a second down to about 6/10. Chad Swansworth is closing in. Henderson not pushing too awful hard, protecting those right side Goodyear tires at the moment. And the top 4 have really isolated themselves at the front. It is a smorgasbord of cars further down the running order from Blowers on down. This is 7th on down out of the top 10. Blowers, Roberts, Peach, Frazier, Caitlin Height, the 11 in that that green and black, that Kit Sauber inspired car. And then I believe that is Alfred Denny in 12th. It is the 21 car in P12. And then Josh Soucy's recovered up to the 13th spot again. The biggest mover is the 21 of Denny, up 16 spots. Blowers up 15 is next on that list. Pit stop's not far away. We have surpassed the lap 50 mark. Remember, 4 cautions saves the drivers a decent chunk on the fuel economy. A lap of caution is 2 laps of green flag running. And about 14, 15 laps of yellow. So we can extend this a little bit. The pit stops are coming for just about everyone in the field. In fact, some of those in the top 10 have bowed out. Roberts and Thompson down the pit lane. Here they are. They were in that top 10 conversation. And they have bowed out. And here comes your race leaders. Henderson, Swatsworth, Sasek, Kissenweather, all in. Wygen stays out. He'll grab a lap lead. No bonus point for it. But he'll grab a bonus. He'll grab a lap lead. Peach and Blowers, who pin lap 2. They move up to 2nd and 3rd. Caitlin Height will inherit the race lead when they come down the pit lane. Alfred Denny needs to make a pit stop. Josh Soucy would be next in line. He's got 4 laps of advantage on the 61 car at the moment. And Wygen's going to come down pit lane right now. So Wygen comes down. Hunter Peach now will lead a lap here in Chicagoland over Blowers and Caitlin Height. With Soucy getting around Alfred Denny. Next car with some laps to go before we worry about a pit stop. Patrick Oberstadt in the 7th spot, also put on lap 18. Byron Jones did leapfrog all of the cars that made pit stops just now. He pit on lap 44. Everyone else pitting here beginning on lap 51 and 52. He has leapfrogged all of them by about 2.5 seconds. The issue is that he is going to be at a disadvantage on the tire wear, which is what he was concerned about to begin with. So he is going to be caught up in a pretty quick way. And I can't say with confidence he's going to lead laps here with how the different strategies are playing out. Spotsworth was trying to stay on board and stay attached to the number 25 of Henderson here as they get around Elias Flores. Flores bows out of the way of Sasek's way. Teammates there not obstructing each other in any significant fashion. Caitlin Height is now your race leader over Soucy, over Oberstadt, and John Matthews. Flores, as I mentioned, staying out of the way of his teammate. He got a lot faster car, got a lot faster equipment behind him at the moment. Flores is 5th on this alternate strategy. Donaldson, Santiago, Smeal, and Lily Sharp have also stayed out. Sharp, as I mentioned, wounded from the lap 14 crash with Christina Ryan, is still in danger, completely adrift to everybody here. 10 seconds apart from David Smoot Jr., her teammate, who has also had an issue in this race. Byron Jones trying to be the first to unlap himself here against the 2 cars in front of him that have yet to pit. Height and Soucy, former teammates, now adversaries. Height racing for Valfreya Motorsports. Josh Soucy racing for NFG Motorsports. Adversaries before, back when Susie was part of Lady Liberty Motorsports and Caitlin Height was part of Arrowhead Racing. Then they became teammates on the same team for Lady Liberty. And now adversaries once again. Caitlin Height will have to bow down to pit lane 4 laps before Josh Susie does, as things currently stand. And you're seeing here what we were concerned about. Byron Jones has been passed by Henderson, got caught up pretty quickly. And Spotsworth will get around him as well, and so will Eli Sasek here. So Byron Jones, worried about the tire wear, came down pit lane earlier than everybody else and is now beginning to pay the price for that. Not as effective at the moment. Everyone trying to play games here. Lap 85 will be when stage 2 comes to a close. We saw stage 1 end under green. We'll see if that happens with stage 2 as well. 25 laps to go in the stage. Henderson now, the first of those that came down pit lane after lap 50, has closed in on the race leaders, trying to get his lap back to avoid a caution pinning everyone a lap down. Very precious real estate and a very precious difference between being 10th a lap down and being 10th on the lead lap at the moment. Looks to the outside of Josh Susie. Susie, remember, he's on old tires. He's a little bit tighter than what he was at the start. Henderson can pick and choose his lane. He chose the outside lane and got a little dicey there for a second. And make it through. Susie, I think, understands that Henderson is not his fight. They will not be close to each other on the racetrack when Susie makes that pit stop. He'll be half a lap behind. Looking at the timings at right now. And here comes Caitlin Height down the pit lane. That was as expected. Elias Flores also down the pit lane. Susie now the race leader. And Susie is stuck middle 3 wide as Henderson gets away and clear of this group. Susie was stuck middle 3 wide. He was trying to give space to Swatsworth on the inside lane, and Sasek took him 3 wide on the outside lane. And Susie just trying to avoid losing time, but being stuck in these battles is not helping his case at the moment. The only thing that's happening now is that those right side tires are burning off at a faster rate than they were already. Caitlin Height drops down to the 17th position, make that 18th behind Alfred Denny as she comes out of pit lane. Remember, they are on an alternate strategy at this point. The only thing that would save them at any point now would be a caution that brings the field together on the same game plan again. But you don't want to do that when you're sitting down in 18th. You're hoping that that happens when most of the field has made their pit stop and you're on that alternate strategy out in front again. You have cast your cards aside here. Susie indicating he is coming down pit lane. Very Champ Car-esque of him. The swerve down to the white line like that. We saw it at Kansas last week too. That's exactly what happens. Susie to the pit lane. John Matthews will take over the race lead potentially. No, he will come down pit lane as well. That's a slowdown towards the pit entry. And he makes it. And so this will give Blake Henderson back the lead once again. How did Sasek go from 3rd to 12th? For those watching live, I believe you're watching behind. There was a strategy difference here. 2 different pit stop cycles. We're seeing the alternate pit stop cycle begin to make their pit stops now. Sasek's moved back up to 4th. But if you're watching on delay, like on PC or something like that, you might not hear this until after you see it already happen. But Sasek up to 2nd. He is trying to chase down Blake Henderson right now. About 6.5 tenths of drift of the race leader. Swansworth in 3rd. but has lost touch with the top two. And Byron Jones, a very distant fourth at the moment. And Willie Sharp has come back down the pit lane, extended repairs once again for the 19 car on pit lane now. This is a long pit stop window. Don't lie, over 205 seconds on the pit lane now. That is over 3 minutes and 45 seconds now on the pit lane. As Henderson leads over Sasek and Swansworth here in stage number 2, which ends on lap 85. Henderson, who won stage 1, trying to go through and sweep the stages. Eli Sasek would love to have something to say about it. Sasek not in the championship conversation, so not really a main focal point of concern for Henderson at the moment. But every point, as we mentioned at the top of the show, every point counts, especially right now with 3 races to go. Everyone's sort of on level footing. Henderson has the points lead based on stage 1. Swansworth right now sitting in 3rd as well, staying in that conversation after just barely making the championship 8 at Kansas a week ago. And has given himself a little bit of a buffer. And so here we are. Henderson, race of his life so far, with 15 to go in stage number 2. Trying to close in, has done so. 3/10 is the gap. We're right on board with the Ascent Racing driver from Grand Rapids. Bottom of the racetrack for Sasek. Outside lane for Henderson. That solar glare is going to be a pain for everyone through turns 3 and 4. Henderson consistently running the top lane. Sasek consistently preferring the bottom of the racetrack. You see Sasek gains a little bit in the corners every single time, but loses a little bit in exchange on the outside lane. He is driving it in deep right now, whereas Henderson on the outside lane is protecting those tires. That is another big decision to make when you choose the lanes you're running to run. Inside lane, if you're trying to make passes like Sasek is right now, you're going to burn your stuff up pretty quick. Henderson knows that he is in the advantageous position. The passes are going to be harder to make for the inside lane when they are on level footing like they are right now. So Sasek has to work harder and will have to work harder to keep the position later on in the tire stint as this run goes along. You see Sasek almost alongside there, riding alongside Henderson at the moment. And it is an outstanding job so far for the front two that have walked away from Swansworth to the tune of 1.5 seconds. Henderson up the racetrack once again. Again, consistency from both of them. They are pretty consistent in where they want to be. Sasek has clawed in within 2/10 of Henderson. But you're seeing how difficult it is to run the inside lane to make the pass because you want to try to drift out to the wall. You want to try to use as much of the racetrack as possible. Are we in the fuel window? No, we are not. Answering the live chat question on Twitch. Sasek tried diving it in, wanted the race lead, and loses all the ground that he had worked to gain in that process. Sasek, not known for being strategic, known for being more on the aggressive side. And you saw a little bit of that, and it didn't work for him. Henderson held his ground, stayed stationary, stayed firm, and Sasek had to give it all up. The fuel window that was being asked in the live chat is the fuel window to the last stop of the race. And the question is that, no, we have 2 stops to make in this race, realistically. Unless you can stretch to about lap 100, I think you are in need of a little bit of help. John Matthews off the racetrack. That is a spin. That is a solo spin out of turn number 2. Out of turn 2. And it's in front of the race leaders, and it's going to check up Henderson. And Henderson's going to drive aggressive now to try to get back to the front of the field. And caution's out. Sasek, the race leader. Steven Oberstadt, the cause of our 5th caution of the night. And it's self-spins, back-to-back laps. First it's John Matthews, and now it's Steven Oberstadt. And now the drivers in the field have a choice to make. Pacey Wygent trying to make it on one more stop. That, I think, is out the window now. I think if you're on the lead lap, you're coming down pit lane under this caution. Let's take a look. Now, what happened here to Steven Oberstadt? I don't know if he got contact there with Brady Smith or not. We'll have to get a better look at that because that is not very helpful. Chopper came from up above, riding along that seam. Gets loose before Smith gets to him. Gets just a little bit loose. I think Smith doesn't help him at all. But Oberstadt gets loose on his own outside lane in a very similar incident to John Matthews just a lap earlier. And unfortunately for Oberstadt, tries locking it up, tries keeping it off the racetrack, but in a dangerous enough position to draw the caution for the 5th time tonight, for the first time since stage 1. And a nearly 60-lap green flag run is over. And it is over to a pretty predictable affair. Everyone came down the pit lane. So 4 tires and fuel, and this secures that everyone's got one more stop to make in these final 65 or so laps. You cannot go 60 laps. You can maybe, if you had a lot of cautions, you can go 50. We saw with 4 cautions, drivers were just able to make it past 50 laps. Susi, on an interesting 2-tire strat, is the only driver in the top 5 to do so. Only 2 drivers in total on the 2-tire stop. The other driver, Patrick Oberstadt, on 2 tires. Thinking position game here, and I don't know how much that's going to work. But Josh Susi, your race leader, off of pit lane under our 5th caution of the night. We're going to step aside for a quick break here and see how things shape up here as we get ready for the final stanza of this race. Don't go anywhere. More racing to return here from the Chicago 400 and the HTL Cup Series Championship 8 after this. Almost go time. 5th caution, 5th restart coming up. here in Chicagoland for the Chicago 400. Very interesting development here as we get ready to go racing once again. Josh Soucy on a two-tire strategy call will have a brief advantage that'll fall away pretty quickly, I would have to assume. Blake Henderson, to his inside of the 25 car, has led the most laps of the day so far. Row 2, you'll find Eli Sasek and Shad Swathworth. As the pace car pulls in, the green flag flies. Away we go. Soucy got the jump. Henderson gets single file as well. But we're racing once again. Cars in the fence further back. That is, I believe that was Blowers and Roberts. It was. The 83 and the 91 in the fence out of turn 2 on the restart. Cold tires biting both of them. But we stay green. And this is the concern now. We had a bunch of cautions, 4 of them in the first 20 laps of this race. And then we got a long green flag run. First caution since then. What does it look like now that the field's back together? 23 on the lead lap. Down to Steven Oberstadt. We'll see how this pans out. Soucy leads the way. His two-tire stop paying out so far. How long can he stay up there with a car that has not looked convincingly to be the fastest of the bunch? Henderson in second. Swathworth in third. Thompson in fourth. Sasek in fifth. The big talking point is that the strategy call that everyone was relying on making here is gone. Everyone's got a pit stop to make here within these last 60 laps. $59 to go. Swathworth sends it to the bottom of the racetrack. Henderson has been very consistent, one of the most consistently running outside lane. Trouble further back. Oberstadt in the fence. We stay green. Mark Kissenweather came down the pit lane, so I think it's contact between those two. And it is a day-done situation. Oberstadt, you're going to have to try to limp this car around. And that car is destroyed. You see the right front, similar to what Christina Ryan's car looked like earlier in that caution, that accident with Lily Sharp. Patrick Oberstadt in a similar situation, trying to keep that car rolling to not draw a caution is the whole point. The field knows where he's at the moment. He's going to go multiple laps down. His day is effectively over. But he's trying to avoid a caution, which would have happened if he came to a stop and tried using the tow truck. A caution would have to come out for that. He is trying to avoid that situation, seeing what happened with his brother Steven just a few laps ago. And Steven didn't crash. He spun and just came to a stop on the apron. Soucy leads the way. Again, two-tire stop for him. It was a two-tire stop for Patrick Oberstadt as well, and obviously his race is in the tubes. Patrick Oberstadt has made it to the pit lane, so he is off the racetrack well and clearly at this point. So we stay green, 3-car breakaway. Soucy, Henderson, and Swathworth. Soucy has the advantage at the moment with the two-tire stop in the track position, but will have to pay the piper at some point before that final pit stop with about 20 laps to go. but we don't have any battles going on. We do have a replay queued up for that issue between Kissenweather and Overstat. See if I can go ahead and grab that for you real quick. Real time, Overstat and Kissenweather. And it looks like, from that perspective, at real speed, it looks like Overstat snaps loose and then overcorrects into the 2 car here. Almost 4 wide, it looks like. Almost, not quite. 3 wide there. Kalen Height sitting further back. And this is Patrick Overstat we're keeping an eye on here. The 2 of Mark Kissenweather on the outside lane. Patrick, yep, just straddles that seam. We talked about how dangerous they were at Kansas. They're dangerous here too. Straddles it and gets loose and tries correcting it. It just snaps in the overcorrection. And you see Mark Kissenweather just immediately dive to the pit lane, knowing that his day is practically done and over with. Practically, I mean, his pit stall's right there. So Susie at the front of the field, and more retirements here in this race. Patrick Overstat, Mark Kissenweather, their days are done alongside Lily Sharp, Christina Ryan, Josh Arnold, and Zach Meredith. Susie leads now by about a second over Shad Swadsworth, who has worked his way around the 25 at Henderson. As you see the lights turn on in a moment, the sun has really well set. You can see that in the background. We are in dusk conditions now. Kind of surprised at the moment. The Tombstone cars had probably the best nighttime cars at Kansas a week ago. It seems like as the track cools down, the 25 and the other Tombstone cars not quite in that same range. At least it's not helping Henderson at all. It's helping Thompson. Thompson's been in 6th most of this run. But Henderson has lost touch with both the top 2. And that does give problems for Henderson at this point. Susie did not score stage points in either stage 1 or 2. I don't believe, unless the caution came out at the best time and the stage did end on lap 85. He did not score points in stage 1. We know that, because he slid down pretty far backwards in stage 1. It was about 17th at the end of stage 1, lap 40. Overstat back down the pit lane as we get ready to approach 46 laps to go and the century mark on the lap counter. Lap 100 begins now. Susie and Swadsworth staying close to each other. Swadsworth trying to stay in range here, because he knows what everyone else knows at the moment is that Susie's the only car on 2 tires at the moment. Those left side tires, as they go away, that car is going to get tighter and tighter, because the right sides are going to burn up at a natural rate anyway. You need those left side tires to have any sort of forward bite. And once those go away, you are a sitting duck. Overstat back on the racetrack out in front of the race leaders. A lap down at the moment, but Overstat good to go to the end of the race. That's the important thing about the 3-car, is that he is good to the end of the race. He is the first driver in this field that is good to the end. We'll see how that pays out. It might not pay out super well for Overstat, but he is straightforward and through to the end here in Chicago. Frazier's made it all the way up to the 3rd position. Henderson's dropped down to 5th. So that 25 car has fallen away pretty quickly here. Now under pressure from Caitlin Height and from Pacey Wygent. Once again, a tale of two halves for Blake Henderson at the moment. First half of the race, strongest looking car in this field at the moment. Now far from it. Just trying to hang on to that top 5 at the moment as things sit. Looking down at Eli Sassick in the 8th spot. Richard Odie in 9th at the moment, sitting in the top 10. A good run for him if he can hold on to it. Brady Smith looking for a top 10 as well. Storage border cars, Flores, Denny, Jones, Peach, Blowers, all in that group on your screen right now. So is Hunter Peach. And over for the back is Tucker Sawyer down in 16th place, who has not had a fun time. No serious fun memories of Chicagoland for him. He's sitting in the 16th spot on an island ahead of Santiago. Frazier under pressure from Bailey Thompson. Henderson has lost 5th to Caitlin Height. Battle up here at the moment for this 3rd and final podium place at the moment. Swafford has closed in 3/10 the gap at the front of the field to Josh Susie. We'll see if Thompson can make a move here or who begins making moves quicker in these position battles up near the front. Caitlin Height also in the conversation. The 61 car looming closer and closer. Oh, trouble! Trouble! Frazier and Thompson. Cautions out. Turns 1 and 2. Oh, trouble, Odie. And there goes his good day. And that looks like a practical day done for Frazier. Within the last 40 laps here in Chicagoland, that car is destroyed on the entire right side. That is devastating for Lily Frazier. Indeed, that is going to be day done. So here's what happened between Frazier and Thompson. And this is in turns 3 and 4. 6th caution of the night. And it looks like Thompson just kind of runs over the 71 here and sends the 71 for a tumble. We'll have to get another look at that. See if we can get it from Bailey Thompson's perspective here. I'll try this again. Running aboard here with Thompson. He's going to have some extensive repairs to be done. Yeah, just kind of sends the 71 into the corner. Not a whole lot Frazier can do being sent into the corner like that, unfortunately. And it just gets worse for Frazier. And you're going to see from her perspective after the crash has already started. Right there from Richard Odie. And that's going to be the kill shot that ends Frazier's day. And so here we are. 35 laps to go. The entire field has come down pit lane already. So we are sprinting to the finish here in Chicagoland. If you're Henderson, you're wondering if you did enough to dial a car in for the falling away daytime. You're wondering if you got to prepare for the end of this race correctly, because that 25 car did not look good in that last run. For Josh Soucy, he is now on level footing. He is where he wants to be. Chad Swatrith thinks he's got a chance. Where he is right now in second. Caitlin Heights in third, a winner previously here in Chicagoland. Would like to join and do it again. You got Sasek trying to play spoiler. You've got Pacey Wygen, who has crept into the top 6 again. Brady Smith's looking for a good run. He's 7th on this restart. Alfred Denny's top 10. Hunter Peach is top 10 again. Byron Jones has recovered to the top 10 after being put on a very awkward strategy call. He is in 10th. 18 cars on the lead lap. We will see how this plays out. Pace car is in. And the green flag flies. Away we go. Soucy and Height working in tandem, working together. Wygen abandons the outside lane. Swatsworth very slow on that restart. And trouble! Swatsworth in the fence! Swatsworth loose. Henderson finished him off. And is there a yellow? There it is. Henderson nowhere for him to go. Swatsworth got loose without him. And a bunch of damage on the 6 car, putting his race in shambles. 7th yellow of the night. And you're going to see what happens here. We'll see if we can get you a better angle. This is the air cam. AB in slow motion, quarter speed. Spins without Henderson touching him. And Henderson nowhere to go in that small amount of space to move. Not a lot of choices there for Henderson, and it's going to affect both of them negatively. None more so negative than the 6 of Swatsworth, who is going to have more problems with that shot from Santiago. Santiago not in a great place either, unfortunately. So, Swatsworth will come down the pit lane, as will several others. Thompson comes down for more repairs. There's Santiago down pit lane. Richard Odie. Blake Bren Roberts also down the pit lane at the moment. Gary Donaldson gets the free pass and regains his position on the lead lap. That gives us 19 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Give or take. Let's see what happens with Swatsworth and Santiago. We may end up with less than that still. 7th yellow of the night. Stage 2, almost completely green, except for the very end. We've had 2 here in stage number 3. As we approach 31 laps to go. It is Soucy, it is Height, it is Sasek and Wygen, your top 4. Brady Smith and Blake Henderson, your top 6. We will be going green with 30 laps to go on the nose. For those tuning in, we're glad you're with us for every bit of the action. Dialing in, seeing what all has been said via public comms. Got DJ Anderson watching, seeing if Josh Susie can grab victory here in Chicagoland. He's got 2 of his cars in the top 10. With Peach sitting in the 7th spot. Really sharp out has been the talk of a lot of attention tonight after the incident with Christina Ryan earlier on in Stage 1. And Davis Mills Jr. sitting in 13th place for NFG Motorsports. But all eyes are on the top 10 at the moment. Your championship drivers, there's 4 of them in this top 10, 4 of them outside of it. As the green flag flies for the 7th restart tonight. Pretty level footing. One of the better restarts we've seen tonight between Susie and Height. Ooh, close contact there with Henderson and Brady Smith, both almost tagging the wall in a pretty big way. Both of them trying to be aggressive here in the top 10, looking for top 5 running. But all of them trying to chase down Josh Susie, your race leader, 29 to go. Side by side, Sasek and Henderson for 3rd. Henderson's going to grab the position pretty well and clear. Sasek slots in line behind. Henderson relying on the outside lane. That's the lane he prefers to run. He's preferred to run it all day. Does it help him now? He looks a little bit quicker than he did on that last green flag run where he dropped down to 6th. Runs the outside lane again. Susie on the bottom. Height feigned middle. Looks like Henderson got a little too close to the sun running outside lane. Spotsworth on the bottom of the racetrack just trying to keep himself circulating in case more drama happens. He wants to stay running and try to minimize some of the damage here. A lot of damage for that number 6 car down in 20th place at the moment. Will lose more positions if he doesn't keep running. So it is important to try to keep circulating. Zach Apperson is still circulating at the moment, so a chance for Apperson to still gain a couple spots at this particular junction. 26 laps to go at the line. It is Susie, Height, and Henderson. Sasek in a very close 4th, Pacey Wygant in 5th, and Hunter Peach also in this Congo line with the leader. He is in 6th, ahead of Brady Smith and Alfred Denny, who has popped up and in one of his rare appearances has again put that 21 car in the top 10. Bailey Thompson 9th, recovering from that incident with Lily Frazier. And Davis Mills Jr. battling for 10th with Bobby Blowers at this particular point in time. And right now, so far, losing out is Davis Mills Jr. trying to find a way around the 91. Hunter Peach trying to find a way to call his shot here. Tucker Sawyer trying to do the same. Everyone trying to get into that top 10 running order. Trouble, Blowers. Blowers in the dirt, and caution comes out for the 8th time with 25 laps to go. Blowers pushing it pretty hard and pace for it here. And so the field will come around to the pace car once again. We saw Bobby Blowers spin live on camera. Again, just getting loose. I have someone watching live asking the question, why is this race so caution-filled with 8 yellows? Not far away from where we were at Kansas. We had 7, I believe, in Kansas. 7 or 8 at Kansas, I believe, last week. The issue is just it's the 1.5 miles, and it's the way this car changes going from day to night. We saw it at Kansas where under the green flag conditions in the daytime, very few cautions in between. The first caution last week was on lap 50. It's when the track gets cooler, this car is so much more temperature sensitive that, and with the open setups being the way they are, with the fixed setup when we had it before, you were sort of just unhappy all the time. Now you've got setups that are designed either for daytime or for nighttime, and so you have drivers that are chasing those conditions, whether you're chasing getting them ready for the daytime, whether you're chasing for the car to be good in the daytime or chasing the car to be good in the nighttime, you're giving up something. And you're seeing right now drivers in teams trying to chase the conditions as they continue to change. And you're seeing more of these issues on top of just pushing hard all the time anyway. This is a track that gives itself credence to being able to make more passes than like Kansas at night because it is bumpier, because there is more tire wear. But with that being said, the margin for error is also smaller. So it's just a lot of smaller margins for error across the board, a lot more variables, and more chances for people to get it wrong. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. Balya Blauer's in a self-spin here at a turn 2 a couple laps ago. Our 8th caution of the night, the 2nd caution he's been a part of here in Chicagoland, and it freezes our top 10 once again. Pit stops coming for some drivers: Brendan Roberts, Santiago, Richard Odie, Gary Donaldson, all making pit stops here. We have, it looks like, 19 cars on the lead lap at the moment, 20 cars on the racetrack in total. Zach Apperson well off the lead lap at this particular point in time. Josh Susi calling his shot. He wants the outside lane on this 8th restart of the night. So, yeah, a big talking point there. Why is this race so caution filled? It's at the beginning of the race. It's just because this track is so much bumpier. That's why we have the 4 cautions like in consecutive order. We're getting the cautions now because the conditions have changed and the drivers and teams have not adjusted appropriately for those changes. So we're seeing a little bit of a catch-22, and it's a catch-22 that I would hazard to guess is also going to exist at Miami and in Fontana at the end of the season as well, because all of these are day-to-night races. All of them are longer races, 400-kilometer events. So you're going to have the same dynamic of the track falling away. So, Susi in height front of the field for this 8th restart of the evening. Henderson inside row 2 alongside Eli Sasek. Those two have been inseparable most of this race. And then you have Wygant and Peach, row 3. 5 of the Championship 8 drivers are in this top 10. As we have an extra lap here, allowing everyone to get caught up here and put together. So we'll see how this all plays out. We appreciate everyone spending your Monday evening with us. The hangover from the Super Bowl the night before. Wonderful stuff on hand. Remember, we are not racing at all next weekend. There's no racing Saturday, Sunday, or Monday because of the start of the NASCAR season. We hope everyone enjoys next weekend as the stock car season in real life gets underway in the big way. We'll be back again after that, the weekend, February 21st through 23rd with RX High Octane, Winston Cup Series action, and then HTL Cup Series racing, all in Florida with HTL in Miami in 2 weeks. A lot to dissect here. Not a lot of time to do so. 20 laps to go at the green flag line. We'll see how this pans out. Caitlin Height to the inside of Josh Susi. Gonna try to give challenge. Only one driver with a win here at Chicagoland in the Cup Series, and it is the 61 height. The green flag flies, away we go. That was an even better restart for the front row. Henderson gets clear of Sasek. Susi did not get clear of Height. But Height on the bottom of the racetrack, not in the best place to be. Trouble further back, potentially. We get away from it. Both of Bailey Thompson and Hunter Peach were asking for a disaster. Instead, we keep everyone rolling in the right direction. Hunter Peach will lose out on several spots, though, in this process. Susie leads 19 laps to go now at the line. Henderson third. Sasek fourth. Battle for fifth between Wygen and Thompson. Oh, huge hit in the wall for both Henderson and Height. Second and third in the fence. Don't need to ask the question, are they pushing it? You're seeing it. Both of them keep going, and they didn't lose a lot of time to the race leader in the process. So they kept their foot pretty well pinned down, knowing that it is go time. And you don't get away with those very often. And I do wonder if Henderson did bite something out of that in that contact with the fence. I do want to see if we can ride on board with him to see if the panels of that car are still flush. It looks like it. On board with Henderson at the moment. In third, watching the top two running at the moment. Panels still look clean. There's Sasek behind. A bit of a jump scare for you there. For those afraid of the Ascent cars. A couple of them. There's Wygen in the 00 in frame as well, ahead of Bailey Thompson. Henderson now having to mirror drive a little bit, having to take the line away from Sasek. He knows what line Sasek prefers to run because they battled a bunch for the lead earlier on in stage 2. Can you do anything here in stage number 3? We heard a lot of conversation in stage 3 about how much more difficult this car is to pass at the nighttime. And you're seeing that right now. Not a lot of moves happening here. Sasek trying to avoid being passed by Pacey Wygen. Wygen's in the playoffs. Sasek isn't. So I would assume that you would have to make way at some point there if you're looking at the team game a little bit. Sasek's still battling him, so I guess it's not the case. And both the 9 and the 27 knocked the wall down again. And Wygen again trying to find a way around his teammate, his team boss, Eli Sasek, for that 4th spot. Again, it's very easy to see on the racetrack who's in the playoffs and who isn't. You've got the gold marquee, the motifs on 8 of these race cars. Peach, Wygen, Henderson, Susie, Swansworth, Arnold, Sawyer. Everyone else with the blue motifs, the windshield banner and the trim. And Wygen did get clear of Sasek. He is now weapons free to try to engage in a dogfight here with Henderson. Henderson not really keeping touch here with Caitlin Height or Josh Susie in that battle for the race lead. But right now just kind of looking to consolidate that 3rd place if he can. Pacey Wygen, though, is on a charge. Got to the bumper of the 25 pretty quickly as we have approached less than 15 laps to go. We're at 12 laps to go now. And again, we talk about the difficulties in passing. We saw at Kansas. It's a little bit easier here at Chicagoland. Just the bumpier surface gives credence to that. It'll be nothing like this at Homestead, for better or for worse, next time we race in 2 weeks. But everyone knew these conditions well in advance. The schedule was posted pretty well early. So, got to work within the parameters. Sasek hits the wall again at turn 2, and so does it look like Davis Booth Jr. Susie continues to lead the way, 10 to go. Caitlin Height 4/10 adrift. This is going to be a big test to see if Caitlin Height can close in on Josh Susie. Not only close in, but also go for a pass here. Susie, unlike Henderson, preferring the bottom lane, but so does Caitlin Height. Caitlin is closing in a little bit, down to 3/10. Nine laps to go. Staying in third. The pace difference is balanced out between Henderson and Wygant for that third spot. Susie drifting up the racetrack a little bit. Gap is opened back up to 4/10 at the front of the field. And it's a further second adrift to Henderson in third. And Henderson's got 3/10 of a gap on his own over Wygant at the moment. And Henderson has also moved to the bottom lane. So he has run away from that outside lane to the bottom of the racetrack. Susie on the bottom. Height gets to the bottom later, but can't stay down there. Washing out a little bit. Almost half a second now, the gap. I think Caitlin Height has burned up a little bit of those front tires. And is now having to kind of try to protect them. You don't want to run yourself into the fence and put yourself in danger of potentially having to battle the 25. We'll see how it plays out here. Susie doesn't look comfortable either. The way he's getting off the corner in turn 4 doesn't look comfy. It seems like he's just pushing a lot. Middle of the racetrack there for the 24 in turns 1 and 2. He gave up the inside lane there, and it cost him about a 10th and a half. Coming to 5 laps to go. Everyone was on level footing here. Everyone put lap 109 for tires and fuel. And I put everyone on the same footing. Henderson in third. He has walked away from Wygant to the tune of 6/10. Wygant in fourth. Sasek fifth. Peach sixth. Sawyer's made his appearance back in the top 10 at the right time to do so. Bad points day for Swansworth and Arnold, the 2 Militia Racing Club drivers, to start off this championship 8. The other 6 in with a shout with 2 races to go. As things currently stand, those 6 cars all in the top 12. Down to Bryn Roberts in 12th. With 4 laps to go. Well, here comes Hunter Peach looking at Eli Sasek, who has tagged the wall, I think, 1 too many times, and Peach gets around into turn 3. Sasek will try to respond, but Peach has moved into the 5th position. Sasek wins the bottom of the racetrack. Peach on the outside lane with 3 laps to go. Thompson further back in 7th. Denny 8th. Quiet but effective races for him. Byron Jones in 9th. And Sawyer right now in that 10th spot. 2 laps to go, 3 miles for Josh Susie. He has had 4 pole positions this season. He has won from them none of those times. He has crashed 3 of those 4 times. Qualified 23rd tonight. And has once again put on a little bit of a clinic coming from throughout the field to do so. White flag in the air this time. 1 lap to go, presented by Southern Cleaning Company. He's got almost 6/10 to Caitlin Height as he rounds turn 2 for the final time. Henderson trying to hold on for a podium here to help secure a points lead, leaving Chicagoland heading towards Homestead. Josh Susie will kick off with the biggest amount of momentum. He comes around turn 4 for the final time. Josh Susie is a race winner. He wins at Chicagoland. Kalen Height second, and Blake Henderson takes the points lead for the first time in his career, finishing third after scoring stage points in stage 1 and stage 2. It is Josh Soucy, your race winner here in Chicagoland. In a very attrition-based affair here in Illinois. We head into the 1-week break for the Daytona 500 with Josh Soucy carrying the most momentum, but not the points lead. That'll go in the hands of Blake Henderson. His stage performances tonight, outstanding in stage 1 and 2. At Davis Mills Jr., it looks like, joining just to feel included. Here comes your burnout. Davis Mills Jr. celebrating as if he won, despite finishing 18th. And here comes, I think, the Polish victory lap for Josh Soucy. A well-earned race win from 23rd on the grid. The hunt for 3 championships in the HTL Cup Series is on, well and truly. His 15th career win here tonight in this Polish victory lap. Kalen Height will have to sit waiting for her 19th career win as the winningest driver. We saw two of the best statistically at the front of the field tonight duking it out, and it was Josh Soucy, the better of the two tonight. We'll hear from our podium finishers here as well in a moment. As Josh Soucy celebrates, we will also go over the finishing order of tonight's event here in Chicagoland. We'll talk about all 29 drivers and how things look going into the final 2 races right after this. The dust settling as Soucy parks underneath the gantry for the start-finish line here in Chicago. 2 races to go in the season after tonight. Homestead, Miami in 2 weeks, and in 3 weeks, the season finale in Fontana, California. And we're excited for both of those races coming up. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out here. We're glad you spent your evening with us here tonight. Results on your screen from Chicagoland. Josh Soucy, Kalen Height, and Blake Henderson. We'll hear from all 3 of them here in a moment. They finish on the podium ahead of Pacey Wygant, Hunter Peach, Eli Sasek, Bailey Thompson, Alfred Denny, Byron Jones, and Tucker Sawyer, who all round out your top 10. 5 of those playoff drivers all in the top 10, where they need to be to keep things alive going into Miami in 2 weeks. Brady Smith, Bobby Blowers, they ran out your top 12 there at the end. Bryn Roberts loses 12th at the end, finishes 13th after starting this race in 3rd. If you were in the top 4 at the start, you likely didn't have a great time. And that is true for Bryn Roberts as well as your front runners, Shad Swatsworth and Josh Arnold, who both struggled and ultimately, I think, DNF'd tonight's race. They did. John Matthews, Gary Donaldson, 14th and 15th on the end of the race for them. Angel Santiago, car 16, once again finishing 16th place. That is the 5th time he's done that this season. Elias Flores, David Smeal Jr., Richard Odie, and Zach Apperson round out your top 20 here in Chicago. All the rest of the cars down here, there was 9 DNFs in total. All of them out. Shad Swatsworth, Lloyd Frazier, Patrick Oberstadt, his brother Stephen Oberstadt, his brother Patrick. Let's leave that in order. 23rd and 24th on the running order for them. Mark Kissenweather taken out by Patrick Oberstadt in the same incident there. Lily Sharp out after an incident with Christina Ryan. Both of them out of this race. scoring minimum points here. Josh Arnold had so much hopes going into this, especially after qualifying on pole position. 28th place is where he ends up being. I'm not sure why he's put behind Meredith in the numerical order there, but Zach Meredith was the first retirement in 29th position. Just bad nights all around for everyone there in that bottom 9. That being said, we do have podium interviews that we need to take care of here. So let's go ahead and we will start with our third place runner. Let's hopefully not interrupt any conversation here with Blake Henderson, our third place finisher. And I believe, if my unofficial math is serving me correctly, after stage points are included, our points leader tonight for the first time ever, I do believe. Third place, a lot of laps led. Walk us through it, as a tale of two halves, it felt like.
Yeah, our Tombstone 25 was super fast in the daylight. I mean, car could just rip the wall. I felt super confident, but as the track got colder, car just started getting super tight on us. Became a track position game. Felt like the track really narrowed up a lot. Swung some adjustments at it to make it a little looser, but it was a great set. Just with the track changes, I don't think I could have done anything to catch the top 2 there, but it was a fantastic set. Led a lot of laps. Had the points lead. I think a year ago, Christina told me I probably would have been ecstatic that I got a third place and I'm in the position I'm in right now. But now that I'm here, every point matters, and I really wanted that win. So.
And the transition from day to night name of the game, it was the same way at Kansas. Your car was really strong there. Not quite as strong here tonight. We look at Homestead and Fontana, similar conditions expected for those last 2 races. You now know that there is an area to focus on for the Tombstone cars here in these last 2 races, and a week off to focus on getting those cars ready to go for the final stretch here. How important is knowing that that is a weakness right now to being able to prepare those cars extra well for the transitions across these next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know what you can really do to have an overall great race for your car both day and night. But I mean, the car wasn't bad at the end there. It just wasn't winning. Still fantastic work by everybody over here. This was actually the Kansas set. It wasn't directly the Kansas set because I would have spun out in 2 laps, but we tweaked the Kansas set Sunday for about 3 hours. Dustin worked at it, and he did a fantastic job there. Yeah, I think I'll just have to talk with Dustin. I don't really know. I don't know anything about sets. I think the last 2 races are more night oriented than what we have now. So I think we'll probably attack the same way we did Kansas. But yeah, I mean, we had a fantastic race car. Everyone did a fantastic job. That didn't get junked by other people's stupidity tonight for Tombstone. Everyone that really didn't get junked had a fantastic finish, and Bailey even got junked and got a good finish, so fantastic job for her. Christina, even though she once again got junked by the same person that junks everybody in this league, she stayed in, was a great teammate tonight, coaching us through it. Hate that Dusty couldn't make it because he would have been really fast here. He was actually the fastest out of all of us yesterday. So, yeah, I'm just glad Tombstone isn't a team that when one of their teammates wins, they take a participation trophy and burn it down alongside them and take their spotlight away from them.
We took note of that as well here at the end of the race here. But 2 races to go. You are the points leader, and as I mentioned before, I believe that's the first time that has happened in your HTL Cup Series career.
It's happened.
It has happened.
Believe
before.
it or not, long time ago, I actually won the regular season championship. It's just been a few years.
Gotcha. So yeah, before ABN, got it. But yeah. That being said, first time
before it mattered.
I'm not going to go that far, but the first time in over 3 years, though, right? And that's a huge accomplishment in itself. This field has only gotten stronger as the seasons have gone along. Being able to wear a flag in your cap with 2 races to go, that you are the points leader. What has that meant for you as far as sort of summarizing how the season has gone for you?
Yeah, it's been I hate to sound like John Cena or one of those tacky infomercials, but it's just been a never give up mentality. I mean, after like 6 races, I was like 35th in points still. Just kept digging at it. And, Christina's done a great job on keeping my mindset calm because I feel like I keep moving the goalpost for myself because at first was, well, I just hope I can make the playoffs. Then it was, well, if I can make the championship, I'll be happy. And now, I mean, I'm in this position, and I'm not satisfied. I want to win the championship. I feel like I can, and that's kind of weird to say for me. But third place just doesn't. It's a good finish. We got the championship lead, but every point matters. It's not as big as a lead as I'd like. So, especially with my inexperience next week at Miami, I've never really been fantastic there, I feel like. So we'll just work at it again over the next 2 weeks.
An outstanding drive here for the number 25 car. Obviously, a bunch of laps led here tonight. We look at a total of 36 laps led for the 25 car and a third place finish and the points lead with all the stage points combined put together. Before we let you go and let you get ready, not only for the start of the NASCAR season coming up here next weekend with the off week, but also with the next two races coming up, does anyone want to shout and say thank you? The floor is yours. Congratulations on the podium.
Yeah, thanks. It's a hectic week for me. But yeah, I got to thank my wonderful girlfriend Sydney and my dad, who watch as many races as they possibly can. It means a lot to me. Everyone over at Tombstone, Christina, Dustin, Alfred, Gary, Zach, Bailey, they all make this go. And I know I've had a lot of success lately, but I feel like it's been an overall success raise over all of us. I mean, we got 3 cars in the top 10 tonight. That was fantastic to see. Coley Hockman Productions, Blankenship Freight Lines, Team Conti Sim Performance. And if you want a cool paint, I feel like I make decent ones, so just hit me up for those.
And the QR code for all of that, if you want more information, is on the lower left-hand side of the screen. Blake Henderson, points leader for the first time in almost 4 years in a historic season so far in the books for Blake Henderson. He has got 2 races to try to fight for that title, but he's got the advantageous position going into Miami in 2 weeks. Blake, congratulations, and hopefully we get to talk to you again over these next 2 races to finish the season.
All right, thank you, Carmen.
And we will move on along to Caitlin Height, who, a previous winner of this race, not quite enough to get there to Josh Susie at the end. But Caitlin, walk us through it. It was a trying race, I think, for everybody in some way, shape, or form tonight.
Oh yeah. They always say that a green car is always bad luck in racing, but the Kickstake Sauber Chevrolet did a pretty good job there. I stayed rather calm, consistent. I saw a lot of people spin out right in front of me, so I was trying to avoid them the best I could. And at the end of the night here, just sort of close, but not there just enough. So 2 second places in both Chicago races this season is pretty good in my opinion.
Obviously, not a bad effort. We talked to you. Obviously, you come in sort of as a super sub or on a part-time basis here, running a little bit more of the consistent full-time run here at the end of the season in that 61 car for you. It's been all about just having fun. You talked about that last time we talked to you after your race win a couple weeks ago. It's just about having fun here. And it looked for a period of time here in the middle of the race, it's on the replay at the moment on the screen. It looked like we were beginning to get one of those classic races in the daytime here. What was the vibes like in this racetrack, having been a previous winner here in Chicagoland?
For me, the car just had a really weird sort of balance in the daytime. It was both tight, and then for some reason, like the right rear would just dig into the seam, it felt like, and then just the back end would want to come around. So I spent most of the race just really trying to keep the car steady underneath me, and just wait for everything to sort of pan out with the strategy calls. I don't know how to stay green after the first stage, if I would have been able to get up close to the lead, but at the end of the day, everything worked out. So once the nighttime fell, the car got a little too tight, but I tried to adjust, but I didn't adjust far enough.
And knowing what we know now, obviously we've had these day to night races the last couple weeks, and it's going to be more nighttime races the next 2 weeks. Knowing sort of how this car reacts, does that give you sort of any credence on how to prepare the car going for those last two races? Given we see you those last two races.
Uh, yeah, I'm definitely planning on trying to get the last two races underneath me here. But I mean, the three tracks here that we're dealing with, all completely different. So Miami's going to definitely drive different from here. And then, of course, Auto Club is going to drive different from here and Miami. So we at least have experience in what to sort of expect with both races. But as far as what we might need to do in order to get the car all set up and as fast and as stable as possible is the big unknown.
Well, the big unknown's got 2 weeks ahead of it before we take on Homestead Miami. We get to take the next Monday off to let everyone recover from the hangover from the Daytona 500 coming up here in real life. Obviously, a fantastic job. And as you mentioned at the start of the interview, green car is usually bad luck. Not the case here tonight. The Kick Sauber 61 car finishing second. With the extra time, we'll let you sort of relax and get through the week and get through the off weekends that we have coming up here. Before we let you go, though, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. It's always fun seeing the 61 car bowing at the front of the field, and we got plenty of that at the end here tonight.
Yeah, first off, I want to thank the admins of HTL, Blake and Alfred, for, putting up with everybody, the chat, the race banter, everything with that, and then all the behind the scenes work. Carmen, you always put on great broadcasts for everyone to see. Want to thank the Nitro setup shops and for the setup here tonight, and also the work with Susie and the sort of help from the NFG gang. I want to dedicate this race, of course, to Callie for giving me the opportunity to actually get into the car and represent Valfreya as best I can. Also want to give out a big shout out to everyone in chat. Rivers, Will, Amy, Jamie, Jennifer, anyone else that might be watching, and Christina, Emily, all the dolls back at the shop who really put everyone sort of like raise everybody up. And I probably shouldn't say the words that I want to, but guys.
It's always fun seeing Caitlin Height battling for a podium here. She got one tonight, second place here in Chicagoland. We'll see her again the next two races, Homestead in 2 weeks, and in 3 weeks, the season finale in Fontana. Caitlin, congratulations, and hopefully we get to talk to you a couple more times before the season comes to a close.
All right, thank you.
And we'll move on to the man of the hour, your race winner. Once again, this 15th career Cup Series win on the way to a potential third championship. Not the points leader. Stage points, a big talking point here over these next three races, but momentum on the side of the 24 car going into a racetrack that Josh Susie has performed well at before with Homestead in 2 weeks. Josh, walk us through it. You had a lot of work to do climbing from 23rd on the grid to try to get to the race win.
What an adventure. What a grind. Yeah, missing the Calamity early in the race. Yeah, that was crazy. Trying not to get swept up in it or get run over from behind. Trying to think what I could do to get stage points. I had a really big moment while I was almost in the top 10. And, it dropped me back to like 18th or something. Unfortunately, that took away that shot, but I had a little bit of an offsetting strategy that I think would have worked regardless. as I only had to pit one more time. If we would have never had that caution with like 6 to go at the end of stage one, and everyone else had to pit twice besides a couple people that were on the same strat as me. Um, so I feel like I had the bases covered either way. It was just a matter of securing that track position. I know how premium stage points are, so I took 2 when everyone else is probably thinking, "What is this Yahoo doing?" But we made it work. Uh, had a long enough run to where everyone took 4, and then just kind of eyes forward and focused up.
And that gamble, that two tire call, only 2 cars did that, and it was you and Patrick Oberstadt. Patrick Oberstadt didn't make it very long on that strategy call, but it gave you the benefit of clean air, and we know how important that is here in these cars. That strategy call ultimately being what got you in the position to try to go for that race win. Was how measured was that move? Because there was a chance, as we've seen, where the 2 tires just don't work. We've seen that happen on occasion. What was the measured thought process behind that? Were you sure that was going to work, or was it sort of just a gamble at that point?
I wasn't sure at all, but I know I only needed to make it last for 2 laps. And you got to remember, my laps were 16 laps fresher than everyone else that was in front of me at that point in time that took 4 tires. So I'm not sure what correlation Patrick took, like how many laps were on his tires, but I pit 16 laps after everyone else. And I had roughly 13 or 14 laps on my tires when that caution come out. I think anything more than that, closer to 20, it wouldn't have worked. But between having the fewer number of laps and the track getting to nighttime and actually rubbering up more, it just kind of gave me the stability. And I hung on pretty good for a long time. I know Shad was catching me, and it was neck and neck back and forth right before that caution come out. I was doing everything I could to just kind of give him the dirty air and whatnot. I don't know if he would have eventually got me. We were evening out pretty good on tires, but the handling was definitely an adventure that late in the run. But all I had to do was really make it until everyone started pitting and then see how it worked out. But I'd say I wasn't sure on how it was going to work out, but I had a measured confidence in it that I could make it work for at least 2 laps.
And obviously, momentum, a huge talking point going into these last 2 races. It's going to be a battle. Homestead coming up, which you've had success at, and then Fontana, 2 tracks that sit right in line for you here. Um, what is the vibe looking like going into those races, knowing where you're at right now, um, and seeing the qualifying issue we saw today? What is the objective sort of just going into Miami? Is it more about just qualifying better and preventing being in those situations going forward, making it easy for you, or are we still kind of is there still a bit of a figuring out phase across these next 2 races that we've not been in open setups before here in HTL?
Oh, well, first and foremost, absolutely cannot biff qualifying like I did today. That just sets you so far behind. We see how competitive this field is, how much dirty air is hard to deal with. It's not until you get spread out or have a really offsetting strategy, and like there's just so much risk starting anywhere from mid pack on back, especially we're having issues for whatever reason tonight on restarts, and you're in such a danger zone. It's not a smart play to put yourself there. Not that it was intentional, but mistakes happen, and I just can't have any more of those, especially in qualifying. As we reflected, it completely cost me points in stage one. Thankfully, I was able to get the win with the bonus points for the win, kind of offsetting what I lost in stage one. But that's not a guarantee either. So you just got to do everything you can to set yourself up to be in the best position possible. The competition is so stiff. This Homestead and Auto Club are good for me, but the the other people that are in the chase with me, or whatever we're calling this, there's some real heavy hitters that made it to this round also. I can't afford to be giving up points to them. I need to get as big of a buffer as possible, so I have more leeway come California.
a lot of work to do with these next couple of weeks before we get to Homestead, Miami. Get to enjoy the week off for the Daytona 500 coming up here next weekend. But a lot of work to go into that 24 car before those last two races. That should be a lot of fun. Homestead and Fontana end off the season. Before we let you go and let you begin work on getting ready for those last two races, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the win, and congrats on another phenomenal performance with two more races to try to do the same.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. I always got to shout out Nitro Setups. Got me a real solid piece. I put my magic in it. I had to account for these themes that were really causing havoc on the right rear tire, so adapted, changed the setup a little, driving style, figured it out. Great shout out to NFG. Good job, Caitlin, getting a P2. Shout out my smoking hot wife and everyone that showed up tonight. The job's not done, as RIP Kobe would say, and we got to just, I guess, enjoy a little bit of this next 2 weeks off, but it's full focus forward. Between Peach and myself, we got a job to finish here, and we got to show up and make it happen. So we'll do the best we can. Thank you for the broadcast. I look forward to watching it back and hearing what you had to say, and hopefully over these final two races, I get to talk to you a lot more.
Absolutely. The championship fight for the third time is up and on its way. Josh Susie looking for that third title after winning two in a row in previous seasons. Josh, congratulations. And as you mentioned, hopefully a lot more conversations over these next 2 weeks to end out the season.
Thank you.
And with that, we conclude our coverage here tonight. We're glad you spent your Monday night with us here. Remember, nothing going on this weekend across any of our competitions. Everything coming up here is after the Daytona 500, February 21st. We begin the high octane season. February 22nd is the HTL Cup Series season. Both of those at Daytona, and then we stay in Florida with a trip to Miami for the HTL Cup Series on February 23rd. We hope you enjoy the real life racing coming up here this weekend. On behalf of everyone here for HTL, Henderson Graphics, the Cup Series, and Southern Cleaning Company of all of its partners, and everyone here at Avian Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy the racing in Daytona. We'll join you for more of it in 2 weeks' time. So long, everybody.